Hi, Mrs. Shaw class. This is Farmer Joe. I heard that you guys are learning about making maple syrup, and I'm making a special bottle for you guys, so I thought that I would give you a little video to kind of show you what goes into making maple syrup. So I'm standing in the woods around the sugar bush, as you call it. You can see all those white and red buckets are where we're collecting sap. And I've got one right here that I'm just about to get started on. You can see where the tap goes into the tree. Just goes in a couple inches, it doesn't hurt the tree, and you move the tap each year to make sure you don't hurt the tree too much. If we open up the bucket, you can see, get a shot there, the sap dripping right out. It's a warm day, it's about 45 degrees and the sun is shining. So we've got a nice amount of sap coming out. So what we do is take those buckets, empty them in some other buckets. We go around, empty all the sap and take it out to the truck where we haul it back to our farm. Most of our maple trees are not on our property, so I gotta haul them back to the farm where we can boil the sap down to make the syrup. But this is where it all starts. And one way you can tell of a sugar maple tree, the bark looks kind of shaggy, but you can't, it's not loose, it's hard to pull off. You can't pull it off of the tree, and it kind of makes these V shapes. If the bark, the ridges of the bark are straighter, then it's probably a soft maple tree, which is not as good for making sap. But if you see these V shapes, it's probably a sugar maple. And then you can look up at the crown of the tree, and you can see how the branches from this maple tree kind of go straight out. If it's a soft maple tree, they'll point more straight up to the sky and not so much out to the side. So that's how you can tell that you have a sugar maple tree, which has a higher sugar content in the sap, so you'll get more syrup for the amount of sap, less water that you have to boil off. All right, guys, we're back at the farm at the sugar shack, and getting ready to boil some sap up. So I just wanted to kind of show you the setup and how that kind of all works. So let's see what we got going on here. So this is the sugar shack. Takes lots of wood to boil up sap. This is the evaporator, and you see we got a little stack of wood in here getting ready to burn some up. And then we have what's called an arch design, so we have a mass of rock in the back that the heat fire stays down here, and then the heat will go up over the rocks and into the bottom of the sap pans before it goes out the exhaust. So we'll get the sap pans in there, and you can see how that works. All right, we've got the sap pans on, and you can see they're starting to boil. They're not all boiling yet, but it takes a little while to kind of get going. But there we go, that's the next stage. The sap will boil down and it starts to get brown in color as you boil the water off. It takes about 40 to 100 gallons of sap to get 1 gallon of syrup, so you do a lot of boiling. Well, we're working on the final boil. So after we go from boil off most of the water and we get to pretty concentrated sap, then we put it on this propane burner in a 5-gallon pot to boil off the last bit of water. And we're looking for about 219 degrees. You can see it's at 214 now, which is higher than the boiling point of water. So syrup boils higher than water. When it gets to about 218 to 219, then we'll start checking it with the hydrometer, and we'll know exactly when it turns to syrup. If you boil too much water off, then your syrup will crystallize. If you don't boil off enough water, then it will grow mold in the bottles. So you have to make sure that it's very precise. So this is the hydrometer that measures exactly how much sugar is in the syrup. So the red line there is where we want the liquid to be when the syrup is hot. So you can see it's just a little bit below. And that's it's called a Brix reading. It tells you how much sugar is in the solution compared to water. So We want it to be right at that red line to be syrup, and we're just a little bit above. So we got to boil off a little bit more water, and we'll be ready to bottle. Well, the syrup is at the proper density, so now we have to filter it. So we have 3 different layers of filter that helps filter out the niter and the sugar sand out of the syrup. So we've got a thicker filter and then 2 paper filters, which you can remove as you filter if you need to. And then this urn stays hot at about 185 degrees to keep the syrup hot and to sterilize the bottles. And then we just fill the bottles up from here. So maybe you can see the hot syrup going down. And then fill it up. We almost forgot the last part. Hope you guys enjoy it.